When it comes to our physical health, especially as we move past 60, we tend to focus on the big things: blood pressure, cholesterol, joint pain. But there are subtle, private aspects of our well-being that also change over time, and they matter just as much to our quality of life. One of the most overlooked is how our private habits, specifically how we practice self-pleasure, can either support or subtly undermine our sexual performance and confidence over the long run. This isn't about shame or judgment, it's about biology. The human body is a creature of habit, and the patterns we establish in private can train our nervous system, our muscles, and even our hormonal responses in ways that have real consequences for our intimate lives. Today, we're going to talk about 3 extremely common masturbation mistakes that, over years, can inadvertently shrink performance by diminishing sensitivity and creating unhelpful conditioning. We'll explore the simple science behind why this happens, and most importantly, cover practical, gentle adjustments you can make to protect and even enhance your function for years to come. This is a calm, science-based conversation, so let's begin. I'm Dr. Daniel Bennett, and on this channel, we have straightforward conversations about health and aging, grounded in science and compassion. If you appreciate having a reliable place for this kind of information, take a moment to subscribe. Our community here is full of thoughtful people who believe that learning about our bodies is a lifelong journey, and we'd be glad to have you with us. The first common mistake that can gradually erode performance is what we might call the death grip habit. This refers to a pattern of using very high-intensity stimulation, meaning excessive pressure, a tight grip, and rapid speed, to reach climax quickly. While this is certainly effective in the short term, over months and years, it can create a significant problem with sensory feedback. In daily life, this might feel like a growing disconnect. During partnered intimacy, you may find that the gentler, more varied sensations feel underwhelming or are not enough to bring you to orgasm. It can create a frustrating gap between what you experience alone and what you experience with someone else, leading to anxiety and a feeling that your body is no longer responding the way it used to. The science behind this is a process called sensory adaptation or neural adaptation. Your skin, particularly in sensitive areas, is filled with millions of tiny nerve endings called mechanoreceptors. These receptors are designed to respond to touch, pressure, and vibration. However, when they are consistently exposed to an overwhelmingly strong signal, they adapt to protect themselves from being overloaded. They essentially turn down their own volume. Think of it like walking into a very bright room. At first, the light is blinding, but after a few minutes, your pupils constrict and your retinal cells adjust. The light hasn't changed, but your perception of it has. The same thing happens with touch. When the nervous system is only ever trained with maximum intensity stimulation, it begins to treat that as the new baseline. Softer, more nuanced touch then fails to register with the same level of excitement. This can lead to a need for constantly escalating intensity, which only deepens the cycle. The solution is a gentle but intentional process of sensory retraining. The goal is to refamiliarize your nervous system with a wider, more subtle spectrum of sensation. First, and this is the most crucial step, incorporate a high-quality lubricant. Without it, a lighter touch can cause friction and be uncomfortable. Lubricant allows for a smooth glide, making gentle sensations feel pleasurable rather than irritating. Next, consciously change your grip. Instead of a full, tight fist, try using just your fingers or the palm of your hand with a much lighter pressure. The objective is not to race to the finish line, but to explore. Pay close attention to the physical sensations. Notice the difference in feeling between a slow, circling motion and a soft, stroking one. Focus on different areas, not just the most sensitive tip. This practice of mindful touch helps to wake up those nerve endings that have been understimulated. A helpful technique is to rate the pressure you're using on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the tightest grip you'd normally use. Try to stay in the 3 to 5 range for the majority of the time. It might feel less intense at first, and it may take longer to reach orgasm. That is not just okay, it is the entire point. You are retraining your body-brain connection to appreciate subtlety. As a safety note, this is about recalibrating your body's learned preferences. It's not about a medical condition. However, if you experience a sudden and dramatic loss of sensation or any numbness or pain, that is a different matter and a clear signal to consult your doctor to rule out any neurological or vascular issues. The tangible benefit of this practice is profound. Over a few weeks, you may notice that you feel more sensitive not just during self-pleasure, but in all aspects of life. The feeling of clothes on your skin, the warmth of a partner's hand. During intimacy, you'll likely find that a wider variety of touch is more arousing, bridging that frustrating gap and restoring a sense of connection and responsiveness. This single change can shift the focus from a goal-oriented act to a more present, pleasurable experience. Now, this recalibration of physical touch naturally leads us to our second point, which involves the mental and emotional side of arousal and how we generate it. The second mistake is unintentionally training your body to rely on an adrenaline rush for arousal. This happens when we exclusively use high-stress, anxiety-inducing, or intensely aggressive fantasies or visual material to get aroused. While a wide range of fantasy is perfectly normal and healthy, a dependency on a state of high alert can create a hormonal environment that is fundamentally at odds with good erectile function. This can manifest as difficulty getting or maintaining an erection in calm, loving, real-life situations. The setting feels safe and relaxed, but your body, which has been conditioned to equate arousal with danger or urgency, doesn't respond. This can be confusing and deeply distressing, often leading to performance anxiety, which only makes the problem worse. You might feel a profound sense of, why isn't this working? I want this to work. To understand the mechanism here, we need to look at our two competing nervous systems, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic nervous system is our fight-or-flight response. It's triggered by stress, fear, and high-intensity situations. It floods the body with hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. Crucially, cortisol is a vasoconstrictor, meaning it narrows your blood vessels to redirect blood to your large muscles, preparing you to run or fight. The parasympathetic nervous system, on the other hand, is our rest and digest system. It promotes calmness, relaxation, and healing. A healthy erection is almost purely a parasympathetic event. It requires your body to be relaxed enough to release a key molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. It signals the smooth muscles in the arteries of the penis to relax and open up, allowing blood to rush in and create a firm erection. Herein lies the conflict. If you consistently train your brain to associate sexual arousal with the fight-or-flight state, you are simultaneously triggering the release of cortisol, the very hormone that constricts blood vessels and works directly against the nitric oxide needed for an erection. You're essentially hitting the gas and the brake at the same time. While you might be able to power through this conflict when you're younger, as we age and our vascular health becomes more delicate, this internal battle becomes much harder to win. This brings us to a common myth I'd like to address. The myth is that as you get older, you require more extreme or intense fantasy to get aroused because your body is less responsive. The truth is that while our arousal triggers can change, conditioning our nervous system to only respond to high adrenaline scenarios is what can make calm, Intimate moments less arousing. The goal isn't to eliminate fantasy, but to cultivate a flexible and resilient arousal template that can respond to both exciting novelty and peaceful connection. The solution is to practice mindful arousal, shifting the hormonal balance back in favor of the parasympathetic system. This begins even before you touch yourself. Take 5 or 6 deep, slow breaths. Breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for a moment, and exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. This simple action has been shown to lower cortisol and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, creating the ideal chemical state for arousal. From there, shift your focus from a mental image of intensity to the physical sensations in your body. Notice the feeling of warmth, the tingling, the growing blood flow. This grounds you in the present moment. Try to explore different kinds of fantasy, perhaps recalling a tender, loving memory, or focusing on themes of connection and pleasure rather than conflict or danger. The goal is to consciously build a new association in your brain. Arousal equals safety, relaxation, and presence. If you find this information helpful in understanding your own body, a simple tap on the subscribe button ensures you won't miss our future discussions on proactive health. A quick safety note here. Experiencing performance anxiety from time to time is a normal part of life for most men. However, if this anxiety becomes persistent and is causing significant distress in your life or relationship, it is a very good reason to speak with a therapist or a men's health specialist. This is a common and highly treatable issue, and you do not have to navigate it alone. The tangible benefit of this shift is powerful. You'll be nurturing a nervous system that can achieve arousal in a state of calm. This leads to more reliable and sustainable erections. It reduces the frantic pressure of performance anxiety and allows you to be more present and connected, both with yourself and with a partner. You're not just aiming for an outcome. You're cultivating a healthier, more resilient sexual response system from the ground up. This leads us directly to the third and final mistake, which concerns the physical mechanics of climax itself and a group of muscles most men rarely think about. The third mistake is a finish line fixation, where the primary goal is to reach the most powerful orgasm as quickly as possible. This pattern almost always involves an unconscious, forceful, and sustained clenching of the pelvic floor muscles. While a strong contraction is a natural part of orgasm, chronic, high-intensity tensing without proper relaxation can lead to a condition called a hypertonic or overly tight pelvic floor. Paradoxically, a pelvic floor that is too tight can be a major contributor to a number of sexual health issues. In daily life, this might show up as difficulty achieving full rigidity, ejaculating sooner than you'd like, or even a dull, aching feeling in the pelvis or lower back after sex. Many men assume these are just inevitable signs of aging, but a dysfunctional pelvic floor is often a hidden and correctable part of the picture. Let's quickly demystify the science. Your pelvic floor is a complex hammock of muscles that stretches from your pubic bone in the front to your tailbone in the back. These muscles are absolutely critical for sexual function. They help support an erection by compressing veins at the base of the penis, which traps blood inside. They also contract rhythmically to propel semen out during ejaculation. For these muscles to work properly, they need to have a full range of motion. They need to be able to contract strongly, but just as importantly, they need to be able to relax and lengthen completely. Think of your bicep. To lift something heavy, you contract it. But if your bicep were stuck in a state of constant, partial contraction, it would be weak, fatigued, and you wouldn't be able to straighten your arm properly. The same is true for the pelvic floor. When you constantly clench these muscles in a race to the finish line, they can become tight, shortened, and full of trigger points. A hypertonic pelvic floor can restrict blood flow into the penis, making erections less firm. It can also irritate the pudendal nerve, a major nerve for pelvic sensation, which can make the ejaculatory reflex oversensitive and trigger it too early. The solution is to retrain these muscles, teaching them to relax as well as contract. The most effective way to do this is by practicing a technique often called edging or orgasm control. This involves stimulating yourself to the point where you feel you are about to reach climax, the point of no return, and then stopping completely. In that moment you stop, your focus should turn inward. Take a deep diaphragmatic breath. Let your belly expand as you inhale. As you exhale slowly, consciously visualize your pelvic floor muscles relaxing, dropping, and lengthening. It's the same feeling as when you finish urinating and let everything go. Stay in this relaxed state for 30 to 60 seconds, just breathing and allowing the intense arousal to subside slightly. Then, you can begin stimulating yourself again. Repeating this cycle 3 or 4 times before allowing yourself to have an orgasm does two wonderful things. First, it builds immense control and can lead to a much more intense, whole-body climax when you finally do let go. Second, and more importantly for long-term health, it actively trains your pelvic floor muscles to release and relax under conditions of high arousal. You are breaking the habit of constant clenching. Another helpful exercise is the reverse Kegel. While a standard Kegel is about squeezing and lifting those muscles, a reverse Kegel is about the gentle release and lengthening. To do this, take a slow breath in, and as you exhale, gently bear down as if you were trying to pass gas, but without engaging your abs or glutes. You should feel a slight downward, blossoming sensation in your perineum, the area between your scrotum and anus. This is the feeling of pelvic floor release. A very important safety note: if you are experiencing any persistent pelvic pain, significant changes in urinary function like a weak stream or constant urgency, or chronic erectile dysfunction, please see your physician or a urologist. It's essential to get a proper diagnosis. In many cases, a referral to a pelvic floor physical therapist can be life-changing. They are trained experts who can help identify and treat these muscular imbalances directly. The tangible benefits of cultivating a healthy, flexible pelvic floor are immense. You may experience stronger and more reliable erections due to improved blood flow. You will almost certainly gain a greater degree of ejaculatory control. And by reducing chronic muscular tension, you are protecting the long-term health of the nerves and blood vessels in this vital area of your body. So, to bring it all together, these 3 adjustments, practicing with a lighter touch, cultivating arousal through relaxation, and learning to release the pelvic floor, are not about adding complex new rules. They are about subtracting unhelpful habits that we may have built up over a lifetime without even realizing it. This is about working with your body's natural design, not against it. This process is a form of self-care and stewardship. It's an investment in your long-term vitality and confidence. Be patient and compassionate with yourself as you explore these changes. There is no pass or fail, only a journey of getting to know your own body better. Every small step you take to listen to your body's signals is a victory. You are capable of making gentle, positive changes that will serve you well for many years to come. I'd love to hear from you. In the comments below, feel free to share one small insight from this discussion that resonated with you. Your experience can be incredibly encouraging for others on this same path. If you found this conversation valuable, please give this video a like and consider sharing it with a friend who might also benefit from this calm, science-based approach to health. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. We'll be talking again soon.